As Ollie's Bargain Outlet continues its rapid growth, learning and development is helping employees at every level grow right along with it.
We want to meet that head on and just make sure our folks are equipped and feeling confident in the influence they have as leadership in those everyday leadership moments, those small moments, right? And just creating that space and culture of learning and development.
That's Navia Lee, Senior Manager of Training at Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Navia joins Da Vinci's Angeline Evans and me to share how Ollie's is developing future leaders, creating a culture of continuous learning, and leveraging AI to keep pace with extraordinary growth. Next on Powered by Learning.
Powered by Learning is brought to you by Da Vinci Interactive. Da Vinci's approach to learning is grounded in 30 years of innovation and expertise. We use proven strategies and leading technology to develop solutions that empower learners to improve quality and boost performance. Learn more at davinci.com.
Joining me now are Da Vinci Client Solutions Consultant Angeline Evans and our guest, Navia Lee, Senior Manager of Training at Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Navia.
Hello. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you both again.
You too. We're excited to have this conversation with you today. You know, some people who live in central Pennsylvania, where Angeline and I are, might think of Ollie's as a store or two, but people here and people certainly across the country listening may not understand the size and scope of Ollie's Bargain Outlet. So explain to us a little bit about Ollie's Bargain Outlet, what it is and how big it is, and then a little bit about your specific role.
Absolutely. So I too was guilty before I joined Ollie's, lived right here in central Pennsylvania, and I didn't understand the breadth and scope of Ollie's. So we are one of America's premier retailers. We specialize in salvage merchandise, excess goods, and, brand name goods at really discounted prices, right? We offer this treasure hunt experience because the things that we have are always changing. If you see something you like, you better get it because once it's gone, it's gone. But as far as the breadth and scope, we are based here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That's where our corporate office is. But we are now over 670 stores across 35, soon to be 36 states. So constantly growing.
That's amazing. That's a lot of good stuff
It's
cheap
a lot
all
of good
across
stuff
the
cheap.
country.
Way to put that in there. Absolutely.
and talk a little bit about your roles at Ollie's Bargain Outlet.
Absolutely. So my role is a little multifaceted. So I do manage training here for all of the company. So that is our corporate or support centers, what we like to call it, our corporate office. That's our distribution centers. And that's, of course, our field as well of all of our stores. But I also manage the culture component, right? They're closely tied together. So ensuring that we're driving the culture, how we interact with one another, how we make our decisions and make sure all of that is rooted in our core values.
And when we last spoke, you were sharing that you recently led the content and flow for Ollie's annual spring meeting. Tell us about that.
Yes. So I would have to say that I've been here almost 7 years now. And this year's meeting has to be the most rewarding, one of the most rewarding, and I would say challenging, rewarding and challenging projects that I've worked on here at Ollie's. So what that is we bring in our leadership teams across the fields, some from our support center here, and we bring them all into Hershey, Pennsylvania, and it's all about alignment and how we're going to move forward in the year. And this year, and let me just back up and say, it's big for us because that's our once a year opportunity to get everybody together. Let's start there.
Right.
But this year we took a different approach and we moved away from the broad one size fits all approach. And we really focused in on tailored sessions. We had sessions that were for our new folks that just joined Ollie's within the past year, so they know why we're different and what success looks like here. We had sessions for our district team leaders and above. Beyond that, I would say what made this year special as well is that we tied everything to practical leadership behaviors that were rooted in how we execute, and we leaned heavily on application and engagement. We didn't want folks to sit through just presentations, right?
Yeah.
So who attended this session? I'm trying to imagine. I can't, obviously not everybody from every store across the country came. So what was the purpose of it and who was really the audience?
Yeah, so it's all of our store team leaders. It is all of our district team leaders, our district loss prevention managers, our regional team leaders. We had our buyers from the support center. And then from there, it's just a lot of key partners from the support center go in as well. And it's all about alignment. What are our key focuses? What do we need to do to execute properly? So we had sessions rooted in how to build your bench, right? How to build your bench, how to execute effectively merchandising, how to leverage our loyalty program and things like that to increase sales in our store, how to protect our business. So
That's wonderful. And so after that, gathering, is there any follow-up or what actions do leaders take with them after they leave?
I love that. Absolutely. So that is a major shift this year as well, because we were finding before everyone would enjoy the experience. Everyone would be all in, but we had to really focus on how do we sustain this afterward? That's where it gets a little tricky. So starting from the beginning, when we were designing these sessions, we were looking at and building out the sustainment plan. So we now have our new LMS, which is Ollie's University. That's a key part of that, which is, some of the sessions have courses that they can take as follow-up or courses that they can utilize for their team when they go back to support the learning. We have, of course, a lot of the learning happens in those everyday moments as well with the leadership walks and the coaching that happens afterward. So just a heavy focus on that, sending out all of the lesson materials to everyone as well. So full transparency there. Here's the presentation. Here are the facilitator notes. Here's all of it. And just following up through our communication tools as well.
It sounds like an extremely impactful event. And gosh, just hearing how many stores you have, I can't imagine, like it's just daunting, right? To think on how much you have to equip all of these different people to run the stores successfully and consistently and with the right skills. Aside from this annual event, how are you approaching leadership development at Ollie's?
Yeah, so we do that in many different ways. Because we're just building out our LMS, Ollie's University, a lot of it is on the job training, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do have call it our premier, to get a little fancy there, our premier development pathway or program that we have is called the Rising Stars. And that's for our
Mm-hmm.
store team leaders who want to become district team leaders. And it is a 9-month program. They go through that. And that's one way we go about it. But outside of that, it is really utilizing our folks in the field, leaning heavily on our leaders, our district team leaders in the field and how they coach, starting at the top and making sure that
Mm-hmm.
they are coaching their folks. And one of the major themes for the spring meeting, for example, was a theme we want to carry on throughout the year, which is build riders, not dependents, because we linked it to a Western theme, right? Building riders, not dependents. We have a lot of folks that are really, really great operators, right? They are promoted because they know how to execute at a high level. We want to make sure that that's paired up with that equally important skill set, which is building that capability in others.
Absolutely.
That also probably motivates people to have the ability to think of themselves in that leadership role, regardless of what their position is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's also something that, it can be a challenge. When you are a good operator, when you're good at executing, when you know everything, it's so easy for you to rely on that, right? And just give the answers and just creating that space for them to understand you don't have to know everything. Matter of fact, create multipliers here, build that thinking and that judgment in others. And that takes, we're in a fast retail environment. It's literally us saying, slow down a little bit and look for those moments where it's safe to develop, instead of direct. It's easy in retail to direct. And when we do have to direct, when it's necessary to protect the business, it's ensuring that we have to come back, ensuring that we come back and develop, right?
As an L&D leader, what have you learned about helping these leaders become better coaches and trainers? Because that's a learning experience too in itself, and I'm sure you have some words of wisdom there.
and I'm still learning, and I'd take any words of wisdom there.
First, I would tell you to listen to Powered by Learning, Navia. You'll learn.
Absolutely.
Right.
You got me sold. But it is just that. It's it's recognizing that there are those two skill sets, being a good operator and being a great coach and developer. They're both equally important, but it's helping folks make that transition then, right? From being that excellent operator to being that developer of people, developing everyone in your sphere and helping them to develop others as well. Creating that as a culture and making sure folks understand it's not in big moments, it's in those everyday leadership moments that you're creating that. So that's what I've learned, and that's what we are working on across the board within myself, within all of our folks in leadership, whether by title or just in what we do every day, right? Everyone can be a leader.
Yeah, that's great. And Ollie's, I mean, you guys have a lean training team. So talk to me, let's shift gears a little bit. Talk to me about what this experience has been like building the foundation for Ollie's University. So rolling out an online, training footprint is a big deal. How are you deciding what gets prioritized first? And
Yes.
talk to me a little bit more about that.
All right. So when I joined Ollie's, I was a team of one. I am now a team of three. So you talk about growth there in a short period of time.
Yeah.
We're doing amazing things here with a very lean team. And I would say just being lean in general is going to make prioritization key, right? So we have our business partners. We partner to decide, what are we seeing? What's impacting the field? What could create the biggest ripple effect as far as what we want? Everything that we create has to be scalable, right? So if we're using something for one particular group, we have to make some tweaks and see how we can make it apply to other groups here as well. And then we don't want to just create content for content's sake, right? We want to make sure that it is going to have the impact. It will be consumable. It can be applicable. And beyond that, because we're in a retail space, we have to make sure everything is short.
Yeah.
We have to chunk it out, and we have to make sure, again, that they can use it right away.
With a retail space, I mean, many folks don't have their cell phones on them or might not do they have a laptop or access to something in the break room? How do they take training?
So currently our training, for the most part, happens on the sales floor. So at a register point of sale. So that comes with its own challenges right now because no matter what, we could have the signage up to say training in progress. If a customer sees you there, they want you accessible to them.
Right.
So there are decisions that have to be made on, is this a great time to train? What are the best times? When do we see heavy customer flow? When is it safe to absolutely train? Or maybe it's a situation where you have to pause the learning. That's a great thing about having Ollie's University. You can actually pause the learning and come back. But beyond all of that, just keeping it short enough that we hit all of the key elements and give them the foundation for them to go and do the on the job learning and see and apply themselves.
Have you gotten any feedback from the associates who have taken the training in store or in other locations, and what have they fed back to you?
Yeah, so we've got, especially when the first couple of sessions or courses that we put out there, we got amazing feedback, right? Because the alignment was there. This is alignment that they're seeking. We're talking about everyone getting the same foundational information, whether it's our freight process, which is different from everyone else's. And then they can see that and immediately know what to do. The knowledge isn't coming from any one person, and they can go ahead and apply it. So we get that great feedback, but there is definitely the feedback on it is tough sometimes to try to learn when any customer can come up to you and want your attention in that moment. So we're working through that. This is where we are. And those are the joys and the woes of a company like us that is growing so fast, right? We're growing at this year, I believe we're going to be growing to adding 75 additional stores where we're moving so quickly.
Well, thinking back to what you said about your in-person meeting, and how rewarding it was. I wonder if it was extra rewarding because of the challenges, and maybe Ollie's University will be the same way. It has to feel really satisfying when you're
Absolutely.
able to launch.
So we're already super happy with how Ollie's University is helping us to move learning forward with the consistency that is providing and just the ability to flip the learning a little bit, right? Before when a new hire or a new team leader came into training, they had to rely on a person or persons to be able to really give them information or rely on workbooks. But here now, it doesn't slow down productivity in the store, right? They can go ahead and take the learning and then they can help with production actually as they're learning.
We talked a lot about, leadership development. When we talk about these store associates that are taking training on the floor, I mean, of course, there's foundational training that I'm sure is assigned to everybody. But you talked about leadership, looking for those opportunities to develop capabilities. Do they then assign training, or are there any pathways that, really ambitious new associates can follow?
They can. So we do, Ollie's is very quirky, with our characters and our cartoons and so
Yeah.
forth. We do send out something every month, which is our Ollie's training menu, and it lists out the core, those tried and true dishes, the
Yes.
courses we have out there, what's hot, what's coming, any updates we have to the Ollie's University listing is there. And at any point, any district team leader, regional leader, store team leader can go and assign trainings to their folks. If they feel that someone is struggling in a particular area, maybe it's signing folks up for a loyalty program, they can have them retrain as well. So they can assign the training, they can pull reporting, and there are courses that are automatically assigned as well. So we have those foundational things you mentioned that are just automatically assigned to every new person out there. And then we also have pathways that are specific based on your role or for example, the Rising Stars development program, there are specific courses for them as well.
And are the formats, probably should have asked this question earlier, but for the formats, I know Ollie's University would be all online training. If they are taking something in the Rising Stars program or something specific, are you having regional workshops, or is it also online? Talk about your modalities a little bit.
Absolutely. So I can share how we do that. And that has shifted tremendously in all the ways that I love. So the Rising Stars program used to be live. They used to come into the support center 3 times a year for 2 days, and we just present and have presenters come down. Then we shifted after 2020 to virtual sessions, and it was still I felt too presenter. It wasn't as engaging as it should have been, just to be totally honest with that. Now, as we evolved, what we have them do after some orientations and things like that, we have our folks go ahead and complete learnings within Ollie's University on everything from how to lead effective meetings to time management, prioritization. They go and apply. We have different pre-work or homework activities. And then we utilize those live session or in-person sessions to debrief, right? How did it go? What went well? What could have been even better? What are you going to do differently? They do the peer-to-peer learning. We can make that more workshop based. So they are absolutely grounded in the experience and the application. Whereas before it was just, we don't want folks just presenting to our leaders and them answering a few questions here and there. We want them totally involved in the experience, and that's what it's become.
Absolutely. So more like a flipped classroom approach, and you're level setting, and then you can have some really good, meaningful discussion.
Absolutely.
Afterwards.
Got it.
I love it. So as Ollie's University continues to grow, what are you most excited about building next?
What am I most excited about? I would say with the success, especially of the Rising Stars, I would say I'm most excited about the additional learning pathways that we're going to create. There's definitely a desire for it. We get those requests all the time. And I think that's where I get most excited to seeing that grow and reach other roles and just have it fully built out now with our new tools in a complete RISE or Ollie's Leadership Institute program.
And with how fast Ollie seems to be growing, I mean, there's certainly a lot of opportunity for growth with your employees. So that is exciting.
Absolutely. But we want to match that, right? We want to meet that head on and just make sure our folks are equipped and feeling confident in the influence they have as leadership. Again, in those everyday leadership moments, those small moments, right? And just creating that space and culture of learning and development.
I would bet too that you're building some brand ambassadors through your training programs because you've got such a unique and fun brand. Like, talk a little bit about how you infuse that into your L&D programs and how that helps reach and engage your learners.
Yes, so we absolutely do create brand ambassadors. Most folks, especially, I keep coming back to the rising stars because I'm so proud of what that has evolved to here. But a lot of the folks that we see raise their hand and seek out this program, or I mean, as soon as the program starts, we are still, or the class is selected, we have folks that are saying, "Hey, I want to be a part of this the following year," and it's usually because of the word of mouth or their new leader has been through the program and they're encouraging them to do it. But beyond that, Ollie's is so fun. We're so quirky. Someone hit it perfectly when they say we take what we do seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And that comes through in the learning as well. You're going to see our characters there. Everything doesn't have to be perfect, so to speak. It's going to look and feel like Ollie's. You'll never get country club out of it.
Right.
It's going to
You're
be
not too buttoned
super
up.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to be brought into it. We absolutely utilize AI as well, so that helps us to do even more with our cartoon
Mhm.
and characters to really drive home our message and make it feel like Ollie's no matter what and totally relevant to our folks.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you use AI in L&D? I mean, that's something we love to ask people all the time because we're all learning from each other and how to leverage it
Yes.
in a responsible way. What are you doing with AI at Ollie's Bargain Outlet?
We're doing so many things with it. Number one, we have the perfect opportunity to use it because we have so many Ollie's cartoons,
Mhm.
right, that we can
Mhm.
utilize. And they're not just one dimensional now. We can make them, move and talk, right?
Mhm.
In addition to that, it just speeds everything up in what we're finding. So when it comes to scripting out a course and just making sure we're not missing anything, checking to see what would make that complete in terms of making sure AI's checking us to make sure that the learning is complete. We're utilizing in that way, but just speed in general to help us to build out scripts before we go to recording anything. And it's just so many different ways there, but we're learning as we go as well.
And with a team of 3, I mean, it's the speed, I think, is probably just the most incredible use of it.
Yeah, that along with how quickly your company's growing, you've got to be really
Yes.
agile. So between the size of your team and the size of the company's growth, it's probably AI is probably a very good team member.
Right.
Very good team member. Absolutely. I should have said we have a team of 4. You hit the nail on the head. That is probably the best thing that happened to us. And as far as using it responsibly, our company has taken advantage of this shift. Like, you have to be ahead of the curve or you're going to be
Mhm.
behind the curve when it comes to AI usage. So just making sure that we're utilizing the prescribed tools for Ollie so that we are not putting ourselves at risk in any way, which is
Right.
easily done with so many options out there. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing, using Copilot or whatever we have within our firewall.
That's a really good point, and we've had the opportunity to talk about that a few times on the podcast, but just really making sure, yeah, you're being smart about how you're using AI and not diving into every tool blindly because there is so much out there. Every day there's something new.
There's
Yes.
a new tool. And, Ollie's is so special. We do things differently here. We're a
Yeah.
planogrammed environment. We do so many things different. And I think that's our secret sauce. So we have to be responsible and we can't just put information out there that could put that at jeopardy. But we definitely want to utilize the tools to make sure that we're moving quickly. We actually, my training team are going to be are part of a task force or committee coming up here to explore further how we can use AI to speed up the work and improve the quality of the work as well.
And even just analyze data as you gather more feedback and engagement with Ollie's University. I mean, that can be a huge time saver and just very insightful.
Absolutely. So we do utilize it when it comes to surveys that we get back for the new hire experience to just help us, what would have taken someone, a large chunk of the day to do to look for trends and patterns, AI can do for us in minutes. So
So you've got good training fast. How's that?
training. I like that. I like that. That might have to
Your department
brand.
tagline. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been such an incredible conversation, Navia. Thank you so much for everything that you shared today. I haven't been to an Ollie store in a while, but now I want to go and take my kids this weekend and do some shopping.
I used to love taking my kids there. It is a treasure hunt.
It
It's a treasure
is,
hunt.
It's a
yeah.
perfect place for kids, right?
Yeah, yep.
Where
Yep.
you can give them a couple of dollars and they can come out,
Yeah.
have a blast,
Yes.
and leave with that good stuff cheap.
Yep.
Set them loose in the toy department, the book
The book
department.
department.
You'll be a hero.
You'll be a hero. But it has been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I will certainly be following Powered by Learning. I have much to learn. There's so many, as we grow so quickly, I could utilize all of the advice that I can get to make sure that our folks have what they need.
Well, we all can, and that's what's so great is just we can learn from each other. So we appreciate you coming and being a guest today and sharing your insights. And continue good luck to you at Ollie's Bargain Outlet.
Thank you so much.
My thanks to DaVinci's Angeline Evans and our guest, Navia Lee from Ollie's Bargain Outlet for joining me today. If you have an idea for a topic or a guest, please reach out to us at poweredbylearning@davinci.com. And don't forget, you can subscribe to Powered by Learning wherever you listen to your podcasts.